Hello. Some folks have asked me to explain what I mean when I say I do Spencerian writing on the vertical. Uh, Here's my guide sheet. It was designed by Brian Walker a long time ago. As you can see from the ink marks, I've gotten a lot of use. I write on a pad of an old air conditioner manual, which is fine for me. I don't like the too spongy under padding. I hold my paper to the guide sheet with simple paper clips. Nothing remarkable about any of this so far at all. What I do differently is, and non-traditionally, is to write on the vertical. My chest is here in front of me, right this way. The lines that I'm going to write on are perpendicular rather, to my chest. Most folks will position their paper this way and write on an angle sort of like this. I'm writing with the paper completely parallel to my chest with the lines vertical, basically writing uphill. This creates a slant of the letter forms that is very close to what was done by the old masters, and it just seemed easier for me to write it this way than to try to emulate and do what was done back then. I just didn't have the ability to do it. I totally stumbled upon this. As far as the pen itself, I use the Spencerian #1. It's my favorite. It's a very inexpensive Spencerian pen holder that I got off of eBay. Guy had 5 of them. I got them for $25. So it's very light. I like a light staff. It's made out of some kind of plastic, resin, whatever it is. It suits my purposes very well, being light. As far as the writing itself goes, let me show you what I mean. I go into the beginning of capital stem, and as I write, my shade becomes a downstroke. The shade is now a downstroke, which is quite different than the traditional way of doing it. However, it does require a good knowledge of the letter form because you're writing the letter sideways. And that can get a little bit unusual, but it worked for me. I'm able to do it, and it seems to be able to give me a nice flattened capital stem very easily. As far as the capital stem itself, as you can see, it just becomes very simple to flatten the bottom of the capital stem. And I'm using hardly any finger movement whatsoever. What I am doing is following Brian Walker's advice. Only the ink is touching the paper. It's very important to understand that. Only the ink touches the paper. That's how light the touch should be for Spencerian. I'll just make a couple of letter forms to show what I mean. In holding the pen staff, the only part of my hand that touches the paper is this part of my little finger. Everything else is pretty much up in the air, suspended. I do not use finger movement. I try my best not to. But by using the whole arm movement, your forearm is supporting your arm on the desk. Your finger is the other part of the contact of the desk. Elbow is off the desk. So this allows for a movement that eliminates kinks from any of your capital letters and gives you a smoother writing. This is very difficult. When you're writing this way, you're almost bound to get squiggly lines. It's kind of difficult to get a squiggly line when you're using a whole arm movement because you're just guiding everything with the muscles in your forearm. There's another capital J that's become very interesting to me. And again, it's taken off of that J, but if you write this capital J slowly or with finger movement, you're not going to get the smooth, graceful lines over the oval as easily. Let's put it that way. Lowercase, I do not lift as much as I should. I don't believe that the original Spencerian folks were taught to lift after completing part of their letters. Spencerian was a system of handwriting, and people don't lift their pen staff when they're writing. When they're doing fine art, perhaps, sure. But for the majority of the people who were writing Spencerian in the time of the Golden Age, I doubt if they lifted their pen staff in the creation of a letter. So anyway, for the lowercase, I don't lift as much as is expected, I guess. Now, some folks will have done that I have a hard time even lifting it. I prefer the flow of the written word, just going with it and using the dance of the pen to write that out. So pretty much that's it. Hope this is of some explanation, and I'll see you at Dr. Joe's OP group. Bye-bye.